Imagine a world cloaked in shadows, where every step could mean the difference between life and death. It's 2002 and Ubisoft is on a mission to redefine stealth action. Enter Sam Fisher, Third Echelon's most lethal agent in Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, inspired by the success of Metal Gear. This game wasn't just a response, it was a revolution. In Splinter Cell, we witnessed the birth of a new era in gaming. With its groundbreaking mechanics and gripping narrative, it left an undeniable mark on the industry. But as a good spy knows, one success is never enough. The stage was set for a sequel. Now imagine the pressure, the weight of expectation bearing down on the shoulders of the developers. Could they capture lightning in a bottle once more? The answer lay in the shadows waiting to be revealed. Welcome back to the Retro Fantasy Retrospective. Today we're sneaking our way back into stealth action with Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow.
Pandora Tomorrow.
If you're just discovering this channel, you're in for a treat. We got a growing catalog of captivating retrospectives that peel back the layers on gaming's most fascinating and influential titles. From unsung gems to celebrated classics, our deep dives offer fresh perspectives that'll ignite your passion for the art form. If you enjoy an engaging retrospective that blends insightful analysis with the reverence for its subject matter, mash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss our upcoming exploration to the brilliant minds and landmark experiences that has shaped the incredible medium. Let's dive into this. Following the triumph of Splinter Cell, the inevitability of a sequel loomed large. Ubisoft Montreal had set a high bar, but it was Ubisoft Shanghai who took the helm for the next installment. Led by the same writer, J.T. Perry, the team embarked on a mission to continue Sam Fisher's saga. Returning to voice the iconic protagonist was Michael Ironside again, bringing his trademark gravitas to the role once more. However, there was a change in the air. Lambert's voice actor had transitioned from Don Jordan to the esteemed Dennis Hasenberg. Pandora Tomorrow emerged from the shadows under the development title of Shadow Strike. Built upon the foundation of its predecessor's engine, the team made significant strides in enhancing the gameplay experience. New elements were introduced, offering players a deeper level of immersion in the world of espionage. Not content with resting on their laurels, the developers expanded their horizons, crafting versions for PlayStation 2 and GameCube alongside the Xbox release. Meanwhile, the Windows version underwent its own evolution, striving for variety with the console experience. It maintained the essence of its Xbox counterpart while optimizing for higher resolutions. The checkpoint save system made way for more flexible save options, empowering players to chart their own course through the shadows. Controls were redefined to accommodate the stimulus keyboards and mouse usage, granting greater precision and movement in action. Yet, despite these enhancements, bonus content from other versions remained elusive for Windows players. All efforts will finally pay off, as on March 23, 2004, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow would hit the shelves.
When a powerful militia takes over a U.S. embassy, Sam Fisher must recover classified intelligence before it falls into terrorist hands. But what he'll uncover could mean the end of the free world.
Pandora Tomorrow.
From the files of Tom Clancy comes a breakthrough action experience. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow on PlayStation 2, June 18th, rated T for teen.
Okay, here's a quick spoiler as I'm about to tell the story of Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow. If you're not a fan of spoilers, I encourage you to advance to the gameplay overview section as seen on the timeline below. Let's dive into this. In the murky depths of geopolitical intrigue, Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow plunges players into the heart of Indonesia, circa 2006. Here, amidst the backdrop of a newly independent East Timor, the United States finds itself entangled in a volatile struggle against guerrilla militias. At the center of this maelstrom stands Saudi Sedano, a figure both feared and revered as the charismatic leader of Dara Dandoa, the Blood and Prayer. Sedano's path is one of delusionment and betrayal. Trained by the CIA to combat communist influences, he finds himself abandoned by his former allies when American support shifts towards East Timor's fledgling government. In his eyes, the superpower's actions amount to nothing short of interference in homeland sovereignty. Fueled by resentment, Sedano orchestrates a bold, brazen attack on the United States Embassy in East Timor, seizing a cadre of American military and diplomatic personnel, including the enigmatic Douglas Sheatland, a figure with ties to both Sam Fisher and the protagonist's shadowy past. As the stage is set, the tensions mounts. Fisher, Third Echelon's indomitable agent, is thrust into the fray, tasked with not conventional rescue, but with far more calcine mission to eliminate and retrieve classified intelligence harbored by Sheatland before Sedano's forces extracted through any necessary means.
It wasn't your day.
Well, I wasn't very good in simulation.
The NSA just called me. We have a problem in East Timor.
What kind of problem?
A big one.
What is Douglas doing here?
That's exactly what you have to find out, Sam.
In the opening mission of Pandora Tomorrow, Third Echelon deploys its elite operative Sam Fisher into the heart of peril, tasked with infiltrating the besieged United States Embassy in East Timor. Fisher's objective is clear: rescue his captured comrade Douglas Sheatland and secure any vital intelligence sought by the menacing Dara Dandoa. In the initial briefing, Lambert emphasized the precariousness of the situation within the embassy, urging Fisher to exercise caution and refrain from lethal force until further intel is gathered. Beginning his mission in a tranquil fishing village neighboring the U.S. Embassy, Fisher stealthily navigates through the maze of docks, desert houses, and looming fences. Despite this eerie silence, a confrontation with Dara Dandoa guards serves as a stark reminder of the intimate danger. Undeterred, Fisher presses onward, scaling the embassy's formidable walls, ascending to the second floor using strategically placed scaffolding. In a sudden turn of events, Lambert halts Fisher's progress, revealing Sedano's chilling presence within close proximity, interrogating a hapless hostage. The tensions mounts as Sedano's ruthless interrogation takes a deadly turn, leaving Finners to witness the cold brutality firsthand. Undeterred, the grim reality unfolding before him, Fisher presses forward, his determination unyielding. Amidst the chaos, he discovers Sheatland held captive and facing interrogation by a Dara Dandoa militant. With this precision and determination, Fisher swiftly incapacitates the militant and engages in conversation with Sheatland, extracting crucial information vital to their mission. Sheatland hands over a datastick containing encrypted email, written in enigmatic Tamarisi Mambai dialect, a puzzle that Third Echelon struggles to decipher. However, a startling revelation emerges as the sender's alias is unveiled: Mortified Penguin, an elusive figure within ties to Sedano's clandestine network. In a race against time, Fisher is tasked with rendezvousing with CIA agent Ingrid Carlston, one of the hostages relocated by Sedano to unlock secrets hidden within an encrypted message. Navigating the treacherous courtyard, Fisher receives a signal from Carlston, a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching shadows. However, Lambert's cautionary words ring in Fisher's ears as he faces the daunting challenge of evading a vigilant sniper armed with night vision goggles. With danger lurking at every corner, Fisher devises a cunning strategy, utilizing the cover of 2 unyielding spotlights to obscure the sniper's line of sight and advance towards Kaplan's location. Having successfully reached her location, Fisher engages in dialogue with her, enlisting her expertise to decipher the encrypted email written in Temeri's mind by. The revelation is chilling, a terrorist plot unfolding in the heart of Paris, France, within the confines of a cryogenics facility. With the mission objectives accomplished, Fisher bids farewell to Karlstrom, ensuring her safety as he prepares to depart the embassy. Lambert's voice echoes with solemn reminder of the fifth freedom, and imperative to leave no trace behind before Delta operators secure the premises. With deft precision, Fisher maneuvers through the small village, disabling detection lights along the docks, and orchestrating a seamless rendezvous with the awaiting Osprey for extraction. In the second mission, Sam Fisher is assigned to probe the Sonar Cryogenics Lab following analysis of evidence retrieved from the U.S. Embassy in East Timor.
Rescued from the U.S. Embassy to Dili by Delta forces stationed at the nearby training grounds of the Timorese Defense Force. All but one of the hostages have been accounted for, though. Continue to voice protest at Japan's formation of an information self-defense force, promising sanctions of both. Responded to General Kellner's announcement of increased U.S. military presence in East Timor with cautious support, justifiably wary of the response from neighboring.
During the investigation of the besieged U.S. Embassy in East Timor, Third Echelon unearths evidence pointing towards a looming terrorist threat, prompting Sam Fisher's infiltration of Sonar Cryogenics in Paris. Venturing into the lab through an abandoned subway tunnel, Fisher encounters a formidable force comprised of French and Syrian mercenaries. Amidst the chaos, he uncovers the grim scene of merciless massacres of laboratory personnel and systemic destruction of incriminating evidence by the invaders. Pressing onward through the corridors of the lab, Fisher confronts the pivotal security terminal essential to the mission. However, his path is obstructed by 2 hostile French-Syrian terrorists, wreaking havoc upon the room's vital equipment. With swift precision, Fisher dispatches the armed adversaries, clearing the path to the security terminal. Accessing security footage, Fisher uncovers a chilling revelation, a bomb planted in the nearby boiler room, tickling down towards devastation. Racing against time, Fisher hastens to the bullet room, disarming the explosive threat with deft expertise. With the immediate danger averted, Fisher directs his focus towards the lab's computer mainframe, determined to unearth further insights into the mercenary sinister machinations. As Fisher navigates through the corridors, he encounters an escalating presence of hostile mercenaries, each step bringing them close to the heart of the lab's dark secrets. Upon the mortuary, a grisly sight greets him, brains scattered upon the floor, a grim testament to the mercenaries' callous disregard for human life. The revelation they have absconded with the ND-133 storage devices sends a chill down Fisher's spine, hinting at the sinister magnitude of their intentions. With Lambert's directive ringing in his ears, Fisher embarks on a mission to track down security guard Francois Coldenboff, a witness to the mercenaries' nefarious activities. Racing against time, Fisher locates Francois, trapped in a pavilion standoff with mercenaries, the threat intimate destruction looming large. With calculated precision, Fisher retrieves a crucial image captured by Francois, his action dictating the course of the mission and leaving Lambert's response hanging in the balance. In the next mission, Third Echelon sends Sam Fisher aboard the train with a singular objective, to ascertain the allegiance of Norman Saw, determining whether he's a valuable asset or a rogue agent.
Additional 8,000 U.S. troops arrived in East Timor today in the biggest. Military intelligence released the information that Daradandoa leader Suwadi Sadano was not only responsible but on site at the March 28th hostage crisis at the U.S. Embassy to East Timor. Headed by Abraham Zerkazy to reverse engineer the programs developed for the Georgian information crisis, was declared a success by its UN. Sporadic clashes with Daradandoa guerrillas along the East Timor border. No U.S. casualties were.
What do you think?
The world is small, nasty, and complicated, and everybody dies alone.
What do you think about Norman South?
He's small, nasty, and complicated. I guess how he'll die is up to him.
I don't think Saf even knows whether or not he's still working for the CIA.
I'm a good judge of character.
That must be why we get along so well.
During his Paris mission, Sam Fisher uncovers a shocking truth. Undercover CIA agent Norman Soft orchestrates a terrorist raid on the Southern Cryogenics lab, signaling a betrayal of monumental proportions. With Soft en route, tonight's under assumed identity, Third Echelon dispatches Fisher to infiltrate the train and ascertain Soft's allegiance. Deployed into a speeding train via Osprey, Fisher faces a daunting challenge with strict orders to refrain from lethal tactics and avoid altering the mercenaries on board, all while navigating a purveyor's web of deception and danger. As Fisher stealthily advances towards Soft's car, he encounters a hurdle in the form of Soft's village mercenaries stationed nearby. Armed with crucial intel about Soft's prosthetic limb, Fisher navigates through the chains, eventually pinpointing his target. Utilizing thermal vision, Fisher confirms Soft's identity in the slumbers of his prosthetic leg, betraying him. With precision and caution, Fisher confronts Soft, querying his allegiance to the agency. Soft's affirmation is met with skepticism until he reveals his handler's identity, Clifton Finch. However, their exchange is abruptly interrupted by an unexpected visitor, prompting Soft to urge Fisher to maintain concealment as he attends an urgent call. As Soft departs the cabin, Fisher seeks clarification from Lambert regarding Soft's deceit about his handler. Lambert's confirmation of Soft's falsehoods prompts Fisher to hack Soft's laptop, trailing him to the adjacent bar car. Concealed within a booth, Fisher covertly records Soft's conversation with Sedano, unveiling the nefarious plans to target Jerusalem, Israel. Aware of being surveilled, Soft abruptly terminates the call, leaving Fisher to contemplate his next move. With his objective completed, Fisher endeavors to evade capture, only to learn that the presence has been compromised by Soft's mercenaries. In a pivotal moment, Lambert grants Fisher fifth freedom, sanctioning lethal force as the ultimate resource for self-preservation. In a daring escape attempt, Fisher ascends to the train's rooftop, only to be met with an unexpected airborne threat, a helicopter menacingly bearing down him. Racing against the onslaught of gunfire, Fisher maneuvers towards the rear of the train, where the timely intervention of the Osprey turns to the tide of battle. Seizing opportunity amidst the chaos, Fisher leaps to the descending rope, and the enemy helicopter meets his demise in a fiery crash. Armed with vital intelligence, Fisher sets his sights on Jerusalem, poised to confront the looming threat. Meanwhile, the enigmatic events on board prompt the United Nations to launch a probing investigation into the terminus events that transpired aboard the train. The next mission takes place in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. Third Echelon sent Fisher to track down Norman Soft with the aid of Israeli intelligence.
Of Indonesia has submitted formal protests against supposed U.S. sorties across the Timorese border.
And if Indonesia's government continues to hamper our efforts to combat terror, we will make our displeasure known.
Has effectively driven the Daradandoa out of East Timor, crushing individual cells of guerrilla fighters. The situation in Indonesia should be resolved within. Have given U.S. troops for limited sorties onto Indonesian land, but only under supervision by.
Lambert, do you really think I need these two nannies? I'm a big boy, you know.
Sam, on this mission we have to work closely with the local authorities. It's related to the bank account we found on Soft's laptop. A large payment was made to a charity cover-up for a Syrian terrorist cell operating in Jerusalem.
I knew the Penguin was a benefactor, and?
You'll have more details once you get on site, big boy.
Sam Fisher covertly infiltrates the District Street Market via parachute insertion, where he rendezvous with Francis Cohen. Despite Jerusalem's curfew, Fisher is cautioned about the presence of Israeli police officers maintaining order amidst the sparsely populated streets. His primary mission entails meeting with Saul Berkowitz, an agency contact tasked with providing Fisher his modified SC-20K MAWS rifle. After skillfully navigating past Israeli police patrols, Fisher reaches Saul's store, only to stumble upon a thwarted robbery attempt. Quick to react, Fisher neutralizes the assailant, safeguarding Saul in the process. Curious about the breach in security, Fisher probes Saul for answers, prompting Saul to acknowledge the oversight of his defenses. Grateful for Fisher's intervention, Saul gestures towards a hidden compartment beneath the barrels where the modified SC-20K awaits retrieval. With Saul's guidance, Fisher retrieves the weapon, noting the enhanced stealth capabilities and the overall performance upgrades incorporated to its design. As Fisher proceeds towards his next rendezvous, he connects with Shin Bet operative Dahlia Tal, tasked with unveiling the location of the ND-133's preparation site. Meeting by a church in Jerusalem, Dahlia divulges her knowledge of the Clancy terrorist facility, offering to guide Fisher there. With Fisher shadowing her discreetly, Dahlia encounters obstacles in the form of present police officers enforcing a curfew. When faced with adamant officers, Dahlia resorts to forceful means to maintain her path, knocking out one particularly stubborn officer. Navigating through the streets, they finally reach the underground research facility housing the ND-133. As Fisher steps into the solitary elevator, he extends an invitation to Dahlia, only to be met with her resolute refusal. With the elevator doors closing, Lambert's urgent directive crackles through Fisher's earpiece, commanding him to eliminate Dahlia swiftly before it's too late. Descending to the depths of the underground facility via the elevator, Fisher encounters a fierce resistance from the French quarters until he stumbles upon the laboratory housing the ND-133. Positioned atop the table, the ominous device is revealed to be armed with a mysterious biological agent, prompting Lambert's urgent directive to secure a sample for analysis. With precision and determination, Fisher retrieves the sample, making a swift ascent to the surface via concealed elevator at the facility's rear. Evading further confrontation, Fisher navigates to the adjacent street area, ultimately reaching the extraction point unscathed, crucial evidence in hand. In the next mission, Splinter Cell agent Sam Fisher is sent to Kundang, Indonesia, to tap Sedano's phone as he makes his daily Pandora Tomorrow phone call in his villa.
Daradandoa forces have claimed victory after U.S. troops have retreated from 2 engagements near the... released an official statement on their strategic withdrawal from the small skirmishes of Springfield, Texas after the non-voluntary smallpox vaccination. Health workers could not divulge.
They should tell us what they know. It's our lives.
Dramatic footage from Television Free Indonesia showing Daradandoa leader Suwadi Sedano apparently engaged in battle. It remains...
There's too much noise on the line. I'm not sure we'll be able to connect you to Sarah before we land.
We'll have the agency file on Pandora tomorrow, ready by the time you touch down. You're right. It's Sedano's insurance policy. If he misses a phone call, the virus gets released. We're vaccinating Springfield, Texas. But until we know how many other pox boxes there are, and where, Sedano is a glaring tripwire. We're going to have to tiptoe around him.
Did Grimm write these smallpox flash notes?
Yeah, she's a poet in her own way. But she makes an interesting point. We slip up in Indonesia, and those images could be illustrations of anywhere in America.
I'm sorry, Fisher. I can't get Sarah on the line.
I don't know what I'd say to her anyway.
In his subsequent mission following events in Jerusalem, Sam Fisher embarks on a journey to Indonesia to uncover intelligence regarding Sedano's intentions with the ND-133 armed with smallpox virus samples aimed at American targets. Starting his mission amidst the jungle, Fisher is briefed by Irving Lambert about Discipline International CEO Douglas Sutherland's presence overseeing a reconnaissance operation by his displaced men dubbed the Ghost Army. Meeting Sheatland at a vantage point overlooking the Daradandoa camp, Fisher learns of Displace's plans to immobilize Sedano's plane. Despite Sheatland's readiness to carry out the operation, Fisher insists on handling the task himself, owing to his proximity to the target. Navigating slowly to the perimeters of the camp, Fisher deftly evades detection by both Daradandoa guards and the scattered tripwire mines. Upon reaching the hangar hosting Sedano's plane, Fisher strategically places explosives before pressing further into the camp's depths. Encountering Sedano engaged in conversation with his men, Fisher receives crucial intel from Lambert and Grimsdottir regarding Sedano's verbal communication of the villa's security code. Employing a sticky camera to record the code, Fisher follows Sedano into the underground section, where communication is disrupted due to interference. Inside, Fisher stumbles upon a drug production facility, uncovering Sedano's lucrative operations. In a tense rendezvous with CIA pilot Azrul Afrin, Fisher gains crucial intelligence regarding Japan's Information Self-Defense Force and key affiliate name Stanley Nakarikov. Despite warnings to steer clear of this plane, Fisher navigates back to the surface and regains contact with Third Echelon. Sneaking through the camp's training grounds, he infiltrates Sedano's villa. Just as the leader concludes his mysterious Pandora Tomorrow phone calls, seizing the opportunity, Fisher taps Sedano's phone line using a laptop found on his desk. With his primary objectives achieved, Fisher attempts to slip away, only to be ambushed by Daradandoa militants. Lambert coordinates Sheatland snipers for cover, enabling Fisher to escape through the woods and rendezvous with the Osprey for extraction. Despite the strike's devastation on the Kundang refinery and the Daradandoa militants, Sedano manages to evade capture, eluding the Navy's attempt to eliminate him. Though the attack significantly hampers Sedano's operations, his survival prolongs as the threat he poses, leaving Third Echelon to continue their pursuit in the ongoing battle against terrorism. In the following mission, Fisher infiltrates the Kondomo shipyard in Indonesia, being occupied by the Daradandoa.
To outright mockery of the U.S. military's inability to either capture or kill Suwadi Sedano, the guerrilla leader has appeared on the front lines of nearly every major, being sold over the internet and have become popular across the world. Even their wearers seem largely unsure whether or not irony is...
I mean, it seems like we went to war without declaring anything, and a war we're kinda losing. I don't know what's...
bringing the smallpox vaccination death toll to 6. Still no word from government officials regarding...
After eavesdropping on Sedano's conversations in his villa, Sam Fisher heads to the Daradandoa's control shipyard in Kundang, Indonesia. In a densely guarded encampment nestled amid a tall grass and trees, Fisher navigates his way towards the underground shipyard, revealed to be accessible only via an elevator system. Dodging militant militia members, Fisher descends into the subterranean complex where the Daradandoa operate. Directed by Irving Lambert, Fisher coerces a technician to raise the submarine, a crucial step to gain access to the vessel without alerting hostile militants. Using the technician as a shield, Fisher intercepts a radio call from a submarine crewman questioning the technician's actions. With Fisher's guidance, the technician fabricates a story to appease the crewman, averting suspicion. Seizing the opportunity, Fisher subdues the technician and proceeds to infiltrate the submarine. Maneuvering through the cramped confines of the vessel, Fisher advances toward his objective in the submarine's interior. Utilizing his coercion skills, Fisher seizes a passing colonel and gains access to the Six's room, where he scans the colonel's eyes for authentication. With access granted, Fisher delves into the room's computer system, uncovering contracts between Sedano and a company named Displace, involving the deployment of ND-133 devices by the Argus PMC. Fisher promptly retrieves the permanent data and transmits it to Third Echelon, fulfilling his mission objectives. Exiting the submarine, Fisher faces a surprise attack from Daradandoa operatives, engaging them in combat to secure his escape route. Descending a ladder, he reaches a waiting Zodiac below, enabling him to evade further confrontation and navigate away from the hostile territory via the waterways. In the next mission, Fisher must infiltrate the Television Free Indonesia broadcasting station in Indonesia to capture Sedano.
Whether or not the strategic airstrike in Kundang aimed at Sedano was successful, military intelligence marks a dramatic reversal in U.S. and coalition efforts in Indonesia. General Kellner predicted a favorable resolution within. Even if Sedano has survived, he's dropped so completely from public view that hostage taken by Sedano from the U.S. Embassy to Dili is still unaccounted for.
Fisher,
Yeah?
Operation ShadowNet is coming together better than anyone could have expected. Sedano's insurance policy is as good as canceled.
So what are the Joint Chiefs suggesting we do with Sedano?
We take him alive. We learned with Nicolaides how assassinated leaders tend to be stubborn ghosts.
In a confrontation with Argus mercenaries, 2 ShadowNet spies successfully unlocked a crate containing an ND-133 device. They strategically place a metal container over the ND-133 and detonate an explosive, destroying the device inside. Communicating with Irving Lambert through a live feed, one of the spies signals success with a thumbs up. With the threat of the ND-133 neutralized, Sam Fisher retrieved authorization to apprehend Sedano, infiltrating the heavily fortified TV station where Sedano and his militants are held up. Fisher navigates through the sewers to avoid the landmines and searchlights guarding the entrance. With Lambert's guidance, Fisher learns that the CIA agent Ingrid Karlström is among Sedano's captives, strategically placed by the CIA to gather intel. Fisher rendezvous with Karlström, who offers to assist him in getting close to Sedano. She reveals a plan involving a chopper on the roof to apprehend Sedano and bring him into custody. As Fisher escorts her across the bridge to unlock the retinal scanner, they face increased danger when Saw's contact with Sedano compromises her cover. Fisher fends off Daradon Doa militants, ensuring her safe passage. With access granted, Fisher confronts Sedano in the broadcasting room, successfully apprehending him and handing him over to Karlström on the roof. With Soft en route to Los Angeles International Airport, accompanied by other terrorists transporting the final ND-133, Fisher must intervene to halt their plans and prevent further ND-133 related terror. In the final mission, Fisher is assigned the crucial mission of preventing the release of a smallpox virus using the last ND-133 device by rogue agent Norman Soft at LAX International Airport in Los Angeles, California.
Sedano's capture by U.S. intelligence effectively marks the end of the incident in Indonesia, securing for the Timorese. Intelligence has confirmed Suwadi Sedano's connections to so-called Golden Triangle heroin, has agreed to a U.S. military presence in East Timor as defined by Timorese government. This beginning of what the Bowers administration hopes will
Cannot underestimate the cost of democracy, nor overestimate the costs of the alternative.
Are we sure it's Saw?
The echelon match from the airport security cameras only had a 2% margin of error.
So this is our last pox box. If Soft decompresses it, our first cycle of infection will be in the thousands. And nearly impossible to quarantine.
What does Soth get out of it? Sedano's already finished.
And what else?
He's already got the device on site. We spook him in the slightest, and he sets it off. It's down to you, Fisher.
Rogue CIA agent Norman Soft had obtained the last ND-133 device armed with smallpox, intending to unleash it at LAX International Airport, posing a grave threat to thousands of commuters and potentially triggering a global pandemic. Tasked with preventing this catastrophic act of terrorism, 3rd Echelon dispatched Sam Fisher to intervene, racing through the freeway with agent Francis Cohen. Driving Fisher and Cohen reached the outer wall of LAX International Airport. With a swift and agile move, Fisher scaled the vehicle, hurled over the wall, commencing an infiltration of the mission. 3rd Echelon analyst Anna Grimsdortier facilitated Sam Fisher's entry into the LAX parking garage by hiding him in a semi-trailer truck stopped at a security checkpoint. Fisher, noting ease of entry, was warned by Irving Lambert that Norman Soft's men had already infiltrated the airport, posing as employees and travelers. Soft and his team, vaccinated for smallpox, blended in, but Fisher used his thermal vision to identify them. With the situation dire, 3rd Echelon authorized Fisher to use lethal force, ensuring every terrorist was eliminated to prevent the activation of the ND-133. Sam Fisher eliminated several terrorists disguised as airport staff and travelers as he navigated through the different levels of the parking garage and baggage areas. He successfully neutralized threats in various locations, including the lower levels. baggage inspection, and upper office levels. Using his binoculars and thermal vision, Fisher identified Norman Soft and his escorts, who were carrying the smallpox armed with ND-133 in the upper waiting area above the main lobby. Sam Fisher navigated through the maintenance levels after the elevators were disabled and located Norman Soft and his men preparing to arm the bomb. Without hesitation, Fisher engaged and eliminated Soft's men, ultimately confronting and killing Soft himself. Despite the urgency, Fisher managed to secure the ND-133 device by evacuating it from Los Angeles airspace. It was not feasible in the limited time available. Recognizing the intimate danger, Fisher disguised himself as an airport employee and left the bomb in the airport for police to discover, averting the catastrophic threat. Upon locating the weapon, the police swiftly evacuated the airport, summoned LAPD bomb squad to neutralize the threat. Through a controlled explosion, the LAPD successfully destroyed the bomb and extracted the final strain of the smallpox virus, effectively eliminating the danger to the United States and marketing the resolution of the Indonesian crisis. Pandora Tomorrow, the second installment in the Splinter series, exhibits a narrative depth that extends beyond its gameplay mechanics. The title itself, drawing from the Greek myth of Pandora's box, serves as an allegory for the unfolding events within the game. Just as Pandora's box unleashed a myriad of troubles upon the world, so too does the plot of Pandora Tomorrow that reveals layers of complexity and danger. The game's protagonist, Sam Fisher, operates within a world of shadows and secrets, mirroring the clandestine nature of Pandora's box itself. Tasked with infiltrating various locations and thwarting terroristic threats, Fisher's missions uncover a web of deception and intrigue. The allusion to Pandora's box suggests the consequences of these missions are far-reaching and potentially catastrophic, echoing the chaos unleashed by Pandora's curiosity. Moreover, the narrative explores themes of deception, betrayal, and the consequences of unchecked power. Characters like Norman Soth and Sedano embody the dangers of wielding authority without accountability, much like the mythological forces contained within Pandora's box. As Fisher navigates through the world of shifting allegiances and hidden agendas, players are reminded of the fragility of trust and the potential for unforeseen consequences. In addition to this thematic resonance, Pandora Tomorrow offers a compelling narrative arc that keeps players engaged from start to finish. Each mission unfolds like a chapter in a gripping espionage thriller, with Fisher's journey culminating in a high-stakes showdown to prevent the release of a deadly virus. The tension builds as players confront enemies, both seen and unseen, mirroring the suspense of Pandora's box and the subsequent struggle to contain its contents. In Pandora Tomorrow, the creators made a conscious effort to humanize Sam Fisher, allowing players to morally make significant decisions that won't impact the outcome of the game. Unlike the first installment, where lethal force was often the only option, players are given a choice whether to kill or spare enemies encountered throughout the game. This decision-making mechanic adds layers of complexity to Fisher's character, as players must grapple with the ethical implications of their actions. By providing players with the option to spare enemies, the creators of Pandora Tomorrow acknowledge Fisher's humanity and the moral ambiguity inherent in his line of work. Rather than portraying Fisher as a cold, calculating operative, the game allows players to explore his inner conflict and wrestle with the consequences of his actions. This humanizing element adds depth to Fisher's character, which invites players to consider ethical implications of their choices. Furthermore, the inclusion of this choice-based gameplay mechanic aligns with the thematic exploration of power and accountability present in the narrative. As Fisher navigates through a world of shadowy conspiracies and hidden agendas, players are confronted with the weight of their decisions and the impact they have on both Fisher and the world around him. This emphasis on choice underscores the complexity of Fisher's role as a Splinter Cell operative and highlights the tension between duty and morality. In essence, the decision to incorporate moral choices into gameplay in Pandora Tomorrow serves to humanize Sam Fisher and enrich the player experience, allowing players to shape Fisher's actions to determine his moral compass. By doing so, the game invites deeper engagement with its themes, prompting reflection on the nature of power, responsibility, and the consequences of one's choices. Overall, Pandora Tomorrow stands as a testament to the narrative depth and thematic richness that can be achieved within the medium of video games, drawing ancient mythology and weaving a tale of espionage and intrigue. The game prompts players to contemplate the consequences of their actions and the dangers of delving deeply into the unknown. Much like the myth that inspired it, Pandora Tomorrow serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of curiosity and the enduring struggle between light and shadow. Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow represents a significant evolution of the stealth action genre, building upon the foundation laid by its predecessor while introducing innovative gameplay mechanics and enhancements. As players once again assume the role of Sam Fisher, the elite operative of the covert third echelon agency, they are thrust into a world of intrigue, espionage, and high-stakes espionage. The game's graphical fidelity receives a high praise, maintaining the impressive standards set by the original title. With the single-player campaign's visuals may not have undergone a revolutionary change, the game's environments, characters, models, and lighting effects remain stunning and immersive. The transition to multiplayer introduces crispier visuals with the heightened intensity of espionage battles, accentuated by fluid animations and dynamic lighting. In terms of gameplay, Pandora Tomorrow redefines the mechanics that made its predecessor a standout title, while introducing several notable improvements. Sam's movements are smooth and precise as ever, allowing players to navigate through each mission with finesse and agility. The addition of new maneuvers, such as half-split jumps and SWAT terms for slipping away past doorways unnoticed, provides players with expanded options for navigating complex environments and outsmarting adversaries. One of the game's most significant gameplay enhancements is the introduction of moral choices, allowing players to decide whether to spare or eliminate enemies encountered through their missions. This addition adds layers of depth to Sam's character, humanizing him in a way that was not explored in the first installment. Players must weigh the consequences of their actions, grappling with the ethical implications of their decisions as they progress through the game. The single-player campaign offers ample replay value, encouraging players to experiment with different approaches and strategies to overcome obstacles and achieve objectives. From stealthy infiltration to direct confrontation, players have the freedom to tackle each mission in their preferred style, with multiple paths and optional objectives adding to the game's variety. The introduction of multiplayer mode represents a significant milestone for the series, introducing a thrilling spy versus mercenary experience that pits players against each other in intense high-stakes battles. The asymmetrical gameplay mechanics, where one team assumes the role of a highly trained spies infiltrating enemy territory while the other team plays as heavily armed mercenaries tasked with defending their objectives, add a new layer of depth and excitement to the franchise. Overall, Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow stands as a testament to the continued innovation and excellence of the series. With its refined gameplay mechanics, stunning visuals, and compelling narrative, the game delivers an unforgettable gameplay experience that solidifies its place as a classic in the stealth action genre. Whether playing solo or engaging in multiplayer skirmishes, players are sure to find themselves immersed in the gripping world of espionage intrigue that Pandora Tomorrow has to offer. Much like the first Splinter Cell game, Pandora Tomorrow also has different ports as well. The original release of Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow debuted on March 23, 2004 for the Xbox and PC platforms, marking another milestone in the stealth action genre. The development of the Windows version closely mirrored its Xbox counterpart, with a focus on porting the gameplay experience seamlessly to the PC platform while optimizing for higher resolutions. In terms of gameplay, both the Xbox and PC versions offered a compelling single-player campaign featuring the trademark stealth mechanics and immersive narrative that define the series. However, the PC version distinguished itself by offering enhanced graphical fidelity and the flexibility of keyboard and mouse controls. Players on the PC enjoyed the ability to save their progress anytime, a departure from a checkpoint save system utilized in the Xbox version, which contributed to a more tailored gaming experience. One notable aspect of the PC version was its inclusion of multiplayer modes, which were seamlessly integrated into the single-player campaign experience. The multiplayer component allowed players to engage in intensely spy versus mercenary battles, adding depth and replay value to the overall package. Despite the presence of a playable multiplayer demo for both the PC and Xbox, the low player count eventually led to Ubisoft discontinuing the UbiNet servers for Pandora Tomorrow, limiting the longevity of the multiplayer experience. While the PC version offered several enhancements over its console counterpart, including higher resolutions and customizable controls, it did not feature the bonus content present in other versions of the game. Nevertheless, the Windows release of Pandora Tomorrow succeeded in delivering an immersive and engaging gameplay experience that catered to the preferences of PC gamers. The PlayStation 2 and GameCube ports of Splinter Cell Tomorrow were released in the summer of 2004, offering console players an opportunity to experience the sub-action thrills on their respective platforms. However, these ports differ slightly from their Xbox and PC counterparts, both in terms of gameplay mechanics and graphical fidelity. On the PlayStation 2s, players encounter a gameplay experience that diverged from the original vision of the game due to hardware limitations. The graphics were notably downgraded to accommodate the capabilities of the PlayStation 2 hardware, resulting in a reduction in visual fidelity compared to the Xbox and PC versions. Additionally, some level designs were altered or cut into segments to optimize performance on the PlayStation 2, a common practice in console ports of complex games. Despite these limitations, the PS2 version of Pandora Tomorrow introduced several exclusive features to enhance the gameplay experience. One notable addition was the inclusion of an exclusive mission segment set in the Kungdang level, providing players with additional content to explore. Additionally, a minigame was introduced to disable mines, adding a new layer of challenge and interactivity to the gameplay. Furthermore, the PS2 version incorporated extra routes through the game's levels, offering players more options for exploring and strategic decision-making. This addition contributed to the replay value of the game, encouraging players to revisit levels and uncover hidden pathways and secrets. Another noteworthy feature of the PS2 port was the inclusion of a post-mission statistic and scoring review, allowing players to track their performance and progress through the game. This added a competitive element to the experience, motivating players to strive for excellence and improve their skills with each mission, which is definitely a direct callback to Metal Gear. The PlayStation 3 port of Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow offers players an enhanced experience of the classic stealth action game, leveraging capabilities of the PS3 hardware and incorporating new features to improve gameplay and visual fidelity. As a part of the Splinter Cell trilogy, the PS3 version of Pandora Tomorrow is a high-definition remastered original game, providing players with crisp, detailed graphics at upscaled 1080p resolution. Additionally, the port supports stereoscopic 3D, immersing players in a three-dimensional environment for a more engaging experience. One of the notable enhancements introduced in the PS3 version was the inclusion of its new heads-up display, designed to streamline the user interface and provide players with essential information at a glance. This redesigned HUD improves accessibility and enhances the overall gameplay experience for players. Moreover, the PS3 port incorporates a feature that was absent from the original release: quick saves. This addition allows players to save their progress at any point during the gameplay, providing greater flexibility and convenience in managing their game sessions. However, despite these improvements, the PS3 version of Pandora Tomorrow has encountered some technical issues that detract from the overall experience. Players have reported instances of crashing when quick loading, as well as performance stuttering during gameplay. These issues may disrupt immersion and hinder the smooth flow of gameplay for some players. Furthermore, it's important to note that the PS3 version of Pandora Tomorrow does not include the PS2 exclusive Kundang level segment, which may disappoint players expecting a complete recreation of the original game. Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow garnered widespread acclaim from critics upon its release, with the Xbox version receiving particularly high praise for its innovative gameplay, compelling narrative, and immersive multiplayer mode. The game's success extended across multiple platforms, with the PC, PS2, and GameCube versions also receiving favorable reviews, albeit to a slightly lesser degree. However, the Game Boy Advance version received mixed or average reviews, reflecting the challenges of adapting complex gameplay mechanics of the franchise to a handheld format. Review aggregator website Metacritic reflected the overwhelming positive reception of Pandora Tomorrow, with the Xbox version earning a score of universal acclaim, while the PC, PS2, and GameCube version received generally favorable reviews. The game's critical acclaim was further underscored by Rotten Tomatoes' high ratings across various platforms, with the Xbox version achieving a perfect score of 100% of the fresh rating. Greg Cassavan of GameSpot lauded the game's high-tech stealth mechanics and engaging multiplayer mode, awarding the Xbox and PC versions a score of 9.1 out of 10. He praised the cohesive storyline and innovative gameplay, noting that while the missions could feel rigid at times, they were nevertheless incredibly slick. Mongoose of Game Chronicles magazine echoed the sentiments, particularly praising the multiplayer component as the single best reason to get online on Xbox Live. Entertainment Weekly commented Pandora Tomorrow for seamlessly building upon the foundation established by its predecessor, while Playboy awarded the game a perfect score, highlighting the intensity of the new online mode and its immersive gameplay experience. The Times hailed the game as a miniature masterpiece, while the Village Voice lauded its innovative multiplayer integration, declaring it a perfect 10. In terms of sales, Pandora Tomorrow enjoyed commercial success, with sales figures reaching 1.7 million copies by March 2004, totaling 2.8 million units by September of the same year. The game also received numerous accolades, including recognition from GameSpot as Xbox Best Game of March 2004, and a nomination for Computer Action Adventure Game of the Year at the 8th Annual Interactive Achievement Awards. Overall, Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow left an undeniable mark on the gaming landscape, earning praise for its groundbreaking gameplay, compelling narrative, and innovative multiplayer mode. With its critical acclaim and commercial success, the game solidified its place as a seminal title in the stealth action genre, a worthy successor to the original Splinter Cell. Honestly, this game was miles ahead of the original release. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow emerged as a worthy successor to the groundbreaking Splinter Cell, refining its predecessor's formula while introducing new elements that elevated the experience to new heights. From its addictive gameplay to its immersive world, Pandora Tomorrow captivated players with its intense stealth action and engaging narrative. One of the most notable improvements in Pandora Tomorrow lies in its gameplay. The mechanics are smoother, more refined, offering a seamless experience that truly immerses players in the role of Sam Fisher. The removal of the mandatory tutorial streamlines the game's progression, allowing players to dive straight into action without unnecessary barriers. Despite the increased difficulty, the challenges presented in Pandora Tomorrow only serve to enhance the sense of accomplishment upon completion. While the graphics having some graphical shortcomings, the overall presentation remains impressive. The attention to detail in the sound department further enhances the immersive experience, with every sound meticulously crafted to draw players deeper into the game's world. The addition of an online mode, it offers a refreshing break from single-player gameplay, with intense multiplayer matches that add to the game's replayability. With countless hours of gameplay and endless possibilities for exploration and strategy, Pandora Tomorrow promises non-stop fun and excitement. This game is a must-have for fans of stealth action, whether you're a seasoned veteran of the genre or a newcomer looking for a thrilling gaming experience. Pandora Tomorrow delivers in spades. With its addictive gameplay, immersive world, and endless replay value, Pandora Tomorrow cements its status as a classic in the pantheon of video game masterpieces. If you made it this far, I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all our latest uploads. If you have any retrospective requests or suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. This is the Retro Phantom, signing out.